conversation today. Yesterday, we were not able to be here, but now we are here with everybody, and we're so happy. It is very hot here in Mauritius, so please forgive me if you see me like this. Actually, it's not so nice. It's not so professional now. I'm a bushman. I'm a bushman, so let me readjust. Let me readjust. Let's readjust. Close your eyes. Let us readjust. Don't worry about my bushiness. Eh? I'm a bushman, so. All right. Good evening to all of you, and I'm happy to be here with each and every one of you today on introspection on sacred teachings. Sacred teachings, sacred masters. Basically, everybody know that there are masters that have come since time immemorial. We all know that, isn't it? We all know about masters come to give knowledge. Now, the question is, what do all of these masters have in common? Each one of us, we are all a student of a certain master. Every one of us. Each and every one of us, we are all students of a certain master, that is not connected one. Now, being that there is no one on the surface of this earth that is not connected to a particular master, what do all these masters that have come from different time, space, boundaries of consciousness, what do they have in common, and what have they come to teach us? This is what we are going to be analyzing today. What is it that all these masters from different places, whether we start from the ancient Sumerian, we start from the ancient Babylonians, we go into the ancient Egyptians, we go into the ancient Macedonians, we go of thought. In all schools of thought, what is it that they have all come to teach us? And how is it that everything that has been played or that is being replayed in all schools of thought is being replayed back again to each and every one of us today? What lessons do we have to pick out all of these conversations of these schools of thought? So this is what we are going to be doing today. To all of you that is following us and is watching us live in different parts of the world, I humbly give reverence and respect to all of you. Please do not be stingy. Kindly give gift and send gift and subscribe to us. Your subscription goes a long way because it helps us to be able to go deep in our research, to be able to come up every night and have a conversation with each and every one of you. And if this is the first time you're joining my life, I really welcome you. Please do subscribe and follow us, for you to be able to be always updated on the different teachings. And if you've not yet you are not getting an alert, just click the icon bell that is there, that is going to notify you for you to always get an alert. And do not forget to share. Sharing is loving. Do not forget to share, to do a simple meditation. Now, this meditation is very, very important for us to be able to, connect ourselves to this conversation. So I'm gonna do a little breathing exercise. If you can follow me, perfect. If you can't follow me also, not a problem, not a problem. The most important thing is have your pen with you, have your have your diary. We can look into different scenarios. Now, I know that people have questions. First of all, if you are joining me for the first time and you are joining me, this is not a reading session. I am not doing any reading today. I am just teaching. Please don't do that. Today we are doing classes. We are just teaching. Kindly respect the rules so that kindly respect the rules to everybody. All right. So let us do a little breathing exercise. All right. So, good evening to all of you. And again, I humbly welcome you to this conversation we are having, today. Okay. Today, sacred teachings of ancient masters, sacred teachings of past teachers, all the teachers that have come from time immemorial. What does all these teachers, what do they all bring to teach us? What have all these teachers come to teach us? What do all these teachers have in common? To the ancient text, if we look into ancient text, we are going to see that, first of all, let us look into the text, ancient text that speaks about joy and grief. What do the ancient masters come to teach us about joy and grief? Basically, on here have experienced a certain grief, experienced a certain disappointment, they have experienced a certain, setback, and they have experienced a certain, failure. And because they have experienced these failures, it has a nation, or it has acted as that force that has grounded them from not going forward. Let not your sorrow be so extravagant as to intoxicate your mind. A lot of people exaggerate their sorrow. The sacred teachings of ancient masters says that you should not let your sorrow be so extravagant. Do not let your sorrow be so high that it intoxicates your mind. Sorrow is very, very intoxicating. The environment of our life, the circumstances of our life sometimes makes it so difficult that we drown ourselves in the wine of that the consciousness gets to drink once in a while. And sometimes we drown ourselves in the wine of this sorrow that we are not able to see reality as it is. This world affords good as a transportation, nor does it inflict evil to anybody. This world is a world whereby it affords transport, good as a transportation to everyone. Neither does it inflict evil to anybody. But you must, let not your house wander away from joy. Because why must your house not wander away from joy? It must not wander away from joy because as it is painted outside, so must it be inside. A lot of people have what is called an imaginative understanding of what joy is to be. Because they have this imaginative understanding of what joy is to be, they portray joy in so many ways. And because they portray joy in different ways and in different patterns, their life is not joyful. Their life is not joyful. And now, what is it that makes us not to be joyful? Because of too much lie and too much insincerity that we have. A lot of people are not sincere. Let me tell you one thing: lie is very heavy to the body. Everything that you are struggling to do right now is because there is a certain part of you that is a liar and has not yet accepted has not yet accepted to be truthful and sincere to the real circumstances that is in front of you. And hence, yes, you must understand, do not drown yourself in the sorrow of your life. Because what? Do not allow your sorrow be so extravagant that it drowns you. Do not be mindful of this very easy The wine of sorrow is very easy for people to drink. And because the wine of sorrow is very easy for people to drink, you must then understand what is it that the Master Jesus came to teach? What is it that the ancient masters of yore and ancient mystics of yore, what is it that they have always come to teach? If I could do any good today, please show me how. If I could lead a just life today, please show me how. If I could touch the life of a person today, please show me how. Ancient mystics of yore have always taught Trismegistus. We all know who taught Trismegistus is. Or will let us even look at Enoch. When Enoch was departing of the world, he was taught, give your children the knowledge. But above all, give them the knowledge for which they will never go astray. And what is that knowledge? Compassion. Between God and spirit, which is most powerful? Between God, powerful. People say God is most powerful. But the ancient master says to you, God is not powerful. God is not powerful. Now, somebody's going to be like, what? What do I mean by that? It is a fact. God is not powerful. Why is God not powerful? Because for God to be powerful, it needs the compassion of man. Are you understanding? These are the teachings. Let us reflect on the teachings of ancient masters. He says, God needs the compassion of man. And because he needs the compassion of man, that is what makes him powerful. And a man that is an embodiment of compassion is the most powerful man and the most powerful woman on earth. This is a reflection. A man that is most compassionate is more powerful than God. A woman that is most compassionate is more powerful than any deity and any divinity in the whole universe. How do we and any divinity in the whole universe? How do we understand this? Is my network okay? Is the network okay? Please let me know. Because I'm seeing a yellow line, I'm seeing a yellow line. So I need to know, is the network okay? Okay. A man that is most compassionate. Now, the question is, what is compassion? It needs the feet of compassion. The reason why relationships don't last, you see, when people get into relationship, people get into relationship on the gender perspective because people think that love is the genitals. And because people think that love is the genitals, a young boy that is just getting into relationship for the first time, a young boy getting into a relationship for the first time does not understand what love is because the depiction of love is about the genitals. How much you love me depends on how much you allow me to touch your genitals. That is the depiction of the world right now. How much you love me is about how much you appreciate my genitals. And when there's lack of appreciation of the genitals, or the genitals has become the center that is the depiction of love, then that love becomes a troublesome love. That love becomes a love that is filled with difficulty, that is filled with uncertainty. That love becomes a love that does not really care for the other individual because what? That love becomes tainted. The love, because right now the society believe that when people try to dress themselves in such a wonderful way, people try to look so fit and so nice, but then you must understand, in every way that a person tries to look fit and nice, what are they trying to portray? What are they trying to portray? What are they trying to attract? At the base of a relationship, the ancient master says such a relationship does not last. For such a relationship becomes a pain. For such a relationship becomes what? A pain. And because such a relationship becomes a pain, it doesn't help anybody. And that is the point right now when you see between a man and a woman coming together in union. And if they have a misconception of what love is, and they think that love is about the genitals, such a relationship becomes a relationship that is filled with problem. Because let me tell you one thing, the more you have sexual relationship, the more mental anxiety you get. Thank you very much, blessing. The more what anxiety you get, the more you are prone to have a quarrel with your partner. No, the more there is sex in the relationship, the more there is happiness in the relationship. But I tell you, it is the other way around. It is the other way around. Because what? The more there is sexual relationship in the relationship, sexual relationship is okay. It needs to be healthy. But the more there is sexual relationship in the relationship, the more the individuals feel entitled to each other, and hence they quarrel easily with each other. Are you understanding, my brothers, my sisters? So sex must be done at a moderation. That is beautiful to a man. He says, enjoying the virginity of a woman is what is beautiful to a man. When a man is in his youth, wanting to enjoy the virginity or wanting to devour or go into the conquest of a woman's, genitalia, that is what gives him joy. But that same man, the more he gets into wanting to devour or enjoy the genitalia of a woman, the more he becomes empty and he becomes sad. The more what? He becomes empty and he becomes sad. This is the saying of Aristotle. And hence Aristotle says to his student, a man that has control over his desire for the enjoyment of the genital is a man that have control over his desire to want to enjoy the genital, is a man that will not become an enemy to anyone, because he becomes a man that is always alert. He becomes a man that the intelligence is always sharp for him to see. And do you see that the more you get into the enjoyment of the genitals, the more you are also prone to depression? Do you know that? Do you know that? That is the saying of ancient masters. Ancient master says, the more you get yourself into the enjoyment of the genitals, the more you are prone to depression. The more you don't have a limit. You see, there is a limit for everything. There is a boundary for everything. And when there is no boundary for it, the more you are going to get into depression. 99% of the depressions you have right now is not because of the circumstances that is around you. It is as a result of what? Sexual connectivity. Now then, what about a woman that has not gotten into relationship for a long time? What about a man that has not gotten into relationship for a long time? Do they have depression? Yes, they have depression if they don't understand the sexuality that is around them. Sex is present in every individual. But when you idolize it or you make it into something that it is not, then it becomes a problem to the body. But when you see the sex as it is supposed to be, when you see the sex as how it is meant to be, without not getting carried away by it, without not becoming overwhelmed by it, then that sex becomes a rejuvenative source in your life. That sex becomes a source of what? Inspiration and upliftment upon you. These are the words of ancient masters. Compassionate. Compassion does not mean lack of knowledge. Compassion does not mean lack of knowledge. Compassion does not mean you should accept whatever nonsense that people throw towards you. Thank you very much, T. Always. You should accept everything that people throw against you because what? You are compassionate. No! Aristotle said, no, that is not compassionate. That is what? Foolishness. Compassion is being able to see everything that is as it is meant to be without getting overwhelmed by emotion. Emotion. Emotion is one of the biggest fall in the human society, in the human civilization. And because the emotion is one of the main things that triggers and push people in different ways, a lot of people are unorganized about their life. When people say their spirituality is your birthright, being spiritual is your birthright. Thank you very much, Tina. Being spiritual is your birthright. Being and acting in a spiritual way, that is the natural biography of every individual that is on the surface of this earth. So there is no one that is chosen specially or not specially. A lot of people call themselves that I'm a chosen, I'm a chosen. No, no, no. Everyone is a chosen. Everyone is a chosen. But there are people that are attuned and aligned to certain elements. Just like, what is the meaning of a psyche? What they say someone is a psychic. What does it mean? Does it really have any connotations? It simply means a person that is sensitive to spiritual stimulus. That is all. Nothing more, nothing less. A man or a woman that is sensitive to spiritual stimulus, and we all are sensitive to spiritual stimulus. Every one of us is sensitive to spiritual stimulus. There is no one that is not sensitive to anything that is spiritual, whether you touch it by the glass or you touch it by a cup or whatever it is you touch. We are all sensitive to spiritual stimulus. Thank you very much, Tina Tomato. Karika Papaya. And because we are all sensitive to spiritual stimulus, it influences us in different ways. That does not make us procrastinate about the future, does not make a person special. We, as an individual, as a collective mind, we are all special. And because we, as an individual, as a collective mind, we are all special, it is very important that we understand the teachings of what the masters of yore have always come to teach. The masters of yore have never come to teach about you being greater than other people. None. Aristotle never taught that. That we look and we read their studies, Rumi, whichever masters of yore that we're going to talk about, they never taught that. So what is it that makes it that they didn't teach that? But we want to teach that. Master Jesus, but we want to teach that. Master Jesus, rather, he simply teach, connect to nature. So when we have an introspection on all of this, then it makes us to ask a big question, which is, what are we really doing? What is it that separates the man? What is it that separates the man from the spiritual that is in him? What is it that separates the man from the spiritual that is in him? The presence of sex uncontrolled. Uncontrolled. Now, what is it so special about this energy of sex? Master Jesus the Christ has the energy of sex. Buddha, Gautama the Buddha, also has the energy of sex. You name them, whichever masters of yore that you are going to name. But now the question is, what is the difference between their energy of sex and our own energy of sex? What is the difference? What is the difference between their energy of sex and our own energy of sex? The difference is that they don't get overwhelmed by it. They don't get overwhelmed by it. But we are easily overwhelmed by our own sexual impulses and our own sexual desires. And that becomes the rope that pulls us backward instead of pulling us forward. Because, number one, we see sex as something that is a taboo. We see what? Sex as what? As that which is a taboo, not that which needs to be understood. If you are joining me for the first time, I welcome you all. We see sex as that which is a taboo that is needed to be cut off. No, sex cannot be cut off so long as you are a human, because what? It is part of your natural biology. So when you see sex as that which needs to be cut off and not that which needs to be understood, then you will always be what? In anxiety. And this becomes disappointment. It becomes the number one source of what? Anxiety. The greatest modern, you have all the great modern teachers. They have always thought about the power of sexual transmutation. Because everything you are doing, you are transferring one form of sexual energy to the other. Whether you are talking to a person, you are looking at a person, you are eating from a person, you are buying from a person, you are taking from a person, you are sleeping with a person, you are whatever you are doing, you are having sex. You must understand that. A lot of people think that sex is just the genital, the meeting of the genitals and all of that, but everything you are doing every day, everything. And because everything you are doing every day is nothing but a sexual energy, so basically you are interacting with people sexually. Everything you're doing is sex. And because everything you're doing is sex, just as it is with other people, that when you have a genital relationship with them, there are people that when you have a genital relationship with them, you are in compatibility with them. And then there are people that when you have a genital relationship with them, it's just off. That is also the same thing with everything. That is why you're going to hear certain people's voice like, wow, I just want to continue hearing this voice. And then at the same time, you're going to see certain things about certain people and it just catches your attention and you're like, you're just stuck there with your own sexual energy. And at that point, you are having sex. So when you see it for what it is and you understand it for what it is, then you are always in balance. You are not in anxiety. Aggressive sex with you. Why do people shout when they talk? Why do people get angry? Why do people get angry when someone is talking to them? It's because the sexual energy is not meeting, and hence there's an aggression. So there is a rape. Rape is not just only the physical raping of the genitals, there is also the raping of the mind. You must understand it. Let us have an introspection of ancient masters' teachings. Be careful. You must be careful. A lot of people think that rape, the word, sexual abuse, is just only about the genitals, but you must also be mindful of those that rape your mind. There are people that are like, they penetrate your mind, and when they penetrate your mind, you are helpless in their hands. You must be mindful. Is somebody understanding me? You must be mindful of these people. In as much as we are fearful of external terrorists, we must also be mindful of internal terrorists. The internal terrorists that inflict us. Why? The internal terrorists that inflict us. Why is it that you think that somebody is just talking to somebody on the phone, and based on just using the mobile phone, they are able to put a lot of fear upon the individual? Why? Because they have raped the mind of the individual. Anyone that has put you in what is called an emotional blackmail has raped your mind. Are you understanding? That has put you in an emotional blackmail or in a circumstances whereby you feel that you are helpless and you just have to do what they want you to do, as is a person that has raped you. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. People don't know this. People don't know this. And because people don't know this, they're like, oh, what is happening? What is happening? But that is what it is. That is what it is. And that is why you must protect your mind. You must protect your mind, because your mind is a naive girl. The mind of every individual is a female. It doesn't matter if you are a man or you are a woman. The mind of every individual is a female. It doesn't matter if you are a man or you are a woman. And your mind is a woman. If you're a woman, your mind is a man. Are you understanding? Is somebody understanding me? Please let it enter into your head properly. If you are a man, don't say, I'm a man. No, 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 no. Your body only is a man, but your mind is a woman. And if you are a woman, your body is a woman, but your mind is a man. Understanding? So you are a man with a woman's mind, and you are a woman with a man's mind. And that is why when you are having intercourses with another person, the female in your mind get aroused. Get aroused. Get aroused. Then it becomes a union. Understanding? Then it becomes what? It becomes a union. When you are having a conversation with a person, the male, if a man, you're having a conversation with a woman, the male in your mind, if you're a man and having a conversation with a woman, the female in your mind get aroused, and the male in the mind of the woman get aroused. And there's an interaction that is happening, an interaction of the mind. When they say there's an interaction of the mind, it is simply nothing but the sex of the mind. The minds are having sex. Wow, what is this man saying? That is a sex. Right now, if you are getting blown off, or this is like a surprise to you, right now I am having sex with your mind, and you are having sex with my mind. Are you understanding? Are you understanding? So when people say, oh, I'm just a woman, you are a woman. Your body is a woman, but your mind is a man. And that is why, because your mind is a man, that is why you can tolerate what you tolerate. And because you're a man and your mind is a woman, are you understanding? This is not a kakamboo, it is a fact. So when we look into the introspections of ancient masters, because the mind is female, because the mind is feminine, that is why you are able to produce ideas. That is why you are able to think. That is why you are able to, go within and think and bring, ration and rationalize and do all that is needed to be done and all of that. Why? Because the mind is feminine. Don't forget, there is also a eunuch mind. There is also a eunuch mind. Just like there is a eunuch body, there is also a eunuch mind. There is also a eunuch mind. A eunuch mind is a mind that is unable to produce anything. It's called a barren mind. There is also a barren mind. And that is why every motivational speakers are just trying to force your mind not to be barren, but to be productive. When they say speakers are just trying to force your mind not to be barren, but to be productive. It is being meant by that statement. By that statement. They're not saying you should be productive. What does it mean? Be productive, be productive, be productive. You need to be productive. What does it mean? It simply means you need to be fertile. Who do you say to be fertile? It is only a woman that you say to be fertile. Is it not? If you have the earth and the land is not producing fruit, what does that mean? It means it is a barren land. So also your mind needs to produce fruit, because your mind is also the earth. It is the place of action. Your mind is the place of action. It is the field of action. And because it is the field of action, it needs to produce. When it is not producing, it is a barren field. It is a barren field. So do not make your mind a barren field. Do not do what? Do not make your mind a barren field. Promises of hope are sweeter than the roses in the bud and far more flattering to expectation. But the threatening of fear are a cross upon which the rose is crucified. Promises of hope are sweeter than the rose in the bud. You must understand this. The promise of hope is sweeter, flattering to expectation. Hope is flattering to expectation because what hopes gives you a desire. Oh, maybe it's gonna work out. Maybe it's gonna work out, and hence it is threatened by fear. Fear is the cross at which hope is crucified, and that is why people are always looking for someone to give them hope, not someone to crucify their hope. Are you understanding? Fear is what? Fear is the cross at which hope is crucified. But fear is the most natural thing that you need to do or that you need in regards to life. But fear is that cross, is that cause that hope is crucified. People look for people to give them a reassurance. Please reassure me that my hope is going to be okay. Please reassure me that what I'm thinking is going to work out for me. Please reassure me. So we keep looking for what? We keep looking for what? We keep looking for reassurance. All right, I'm going to stop so that you guys can ask me questions and I can continue. All right. Hello, Ganyo, how are you? Okay, please ask me a question, then I can continue so that we can flow. I see that some people have sent a question. The point here right now is that my question is, this request that you guys sent, is it in relation to this particular conversation, or you are sending a request to ask for a reading? I've said it before, I am not doing any reading. Which one is it? There's a person here by the name Mag and Joy Amayo. So which one is it? There's a person, okay. There is a Mr. Yeah. Mr. Jeff is here. Hello, Mr. Jeff.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good, Mr. Jeff. Still alive.
Quite an interesting topic today.
Merci beaucoup.
I would first of all say, I was thinking today earlier on, I was like, how do you go back in your mind? Like, how do you go back you say in spirituality when you're trying to go back into your mind? And this topic kind of highlighted the areas of things that makes us not go back to that higher spirituality when you mentioned the sex and then the mind being that. And for me, before now, I thought the sex aspect of it was only based on just the intercourse that we have. And with what you're saying, with having sex with the mind and a lot of things, it's just like few days ago, I had a conversation with someone and I said, what is the essence? Because I've always asked myself, I said, what is love? Because we make this feeble conversation. It's like love, the way it's been described for me personally, it's like an attachment, something that someone attached themselves to make them feel like, yes, I belong to something. But that thing surely will definitely fade. But when it fades, people don't tend to take it too hard. I know I've gone through so many relationships that has gone ups and downs, but this is my confirmation on all that experience. So when you come to understanding that we all like having sex and the mind is what's called the field at which it all happens. When it comes to understanding all this conversation, is the way people talk, how do you then get to that place where you put everything? Because me, I'm gonna like, how do you come to that place where you put everything and then start to see it for what it fully is and then resent yourself? Because I've had a moment where I was kind of seeing multiple partners. I'm not gonna lie, I was seeing multiple partners in the past. Then one day, for some weird reason, I just thought, you know what? It's not like I'm cheating behind their back or anything. They all know because I've always been honest. But I just thought one day I said, you know what? Everybody, stay your own. I don't want it. Like everybody, I just want to be on my own. And it's something, it's something that I have seen myself kind of act upon. I shy away. I know one of your lectures, you said something, and I shied away when a woman approaches me and says she wants whatnot. I've shied away and said no and given like reasons behind it, which is my own personal reason. Like I'm not in that phase at that moment and stuff. But how do you fully control it so that you can find that spirituality within you? Because if from childhood we've not, because I think psychologically when our brain is being like how it was from childhood and is certain things, and to change that pattern sometimes we fall short, and I'm not gonna lie, we do fall short. And how do you then put it straight so that you'll now be working in that principle mindset?
Yes. First of all, we must understand that right from sex is that taboo that people don't want to talk. Do you understand? Sex is that taboo that people don't want to talk about. And because it is that taboo that people don't want to talk about, it brings the curiosity in the mind of a child. When you go everywhere, the parents avoid sex. When you go to the monk, the monk says you avoid sex. When you go to the to the priest, whichever way you go, every form of spiritual place you go, they tell you to avoid sex, but they don't give you the reason why you should avoid sex. They just say it is bad, it is bad. But then what is bad about it? That's the first thing. And then they tell you avoid it, avoid it, avoid it. But then at the back of their own house, they get engaged into that particular activity that they condemn you not to get into. So now we are in this dilemma whereby we are moving from one point to the other, being chased by different emotions and all of that. You see, when I was a child, I was very, very emotional. My emotion was one of the things that has stirred me towards an upright movement. Being very, very emotional, you go to school, you are exposed to friends that they themselves, they were dysfunctional in their home. So they come to school and they bring a lot of, materials. And then you watch pornography in school with your with friends. And then, all of those things, and everything like that. Because what? Different things that is enjoyment. You see, the understanding of enjoyment in this life is sex. And is what the people see as what? A man that is happy. The forefathers have a knowledge of this, but they don't know it in essence. They only understand that there is something that works in the body, but they don't know why it works. It is only after sitting down with myself for a long time, and I'm telling you, a long time, that I've been able to really see and come to the reality of my own. Everywhere around you is a stimuli for sex. But when you understand that if I am having this stimuli for sex, it means that it is what is inside of me, not what is outside of me. If what is inside of me isn't aroused, What is outside will not be a problem. But because what is inside is what is aroused, what is outside just complement what is already aroused that is inside. And the first step that I took is to understand that in all history, all masters of yore, they didn't preach to you to rise above sex. They didn't preach to you to condemn sex. They only preached to you to rise above it. What does it mean to rise above it? I don't see any teaching of Master Jesus the Christ that he condemns sex. Neither do I see any teaching of Buddha, Gautama the Buddha, that he condemned sex. But there are teachings that he says, rise above it. Because what? It is part of the body biology. First of all, you must not deny it. You must see it as it is. And to see it as it is means being truthful and being sincere. Apart from just being truthful and being sincere, it also means to always have inner dialogue with yourself. Like whenever this vibration for sex comes from, everything is a root. There's always a root for everything. Whenever the vibration comes from, you look at it. Okay, where's the vibration really happening? When you see it, and at that point, you are able to raise that energy to the top of the brain. Now, what does it mean to raise it to the top of the brain? When a man stays for, are you ready for this conversation?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, for this conversation that I'm about to have, I don't want anybody to comment unnecessarily. It is very, very important. Do not comment unnecessarily, just listen. When a woman or a man stays for some time without having sex, the deposit of the semen, the waste product of the semen comes out of the man's body. Do you know that?
Yes.
Willfully on its own. Do you know that?
Yes.
So the semen coming out of the body is not like something that you need to force out of it, but willfully of its own accord. When a man have stayed without not having sexual relationship for some time and he has held his semen, the waste product comes out. Whether when you are sitting down and you are passing urine, or you are sitting down and you are doing the number two,
yes,
it comes out.
I've experienced it. Experienced it during passing urine and number two.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it comes out. Now, when it comes out, this is to tell you what. And you see that also at that point, when that comes out, there is a certain lightness to the body. Oh, yes, there is. For when that lightness to the body comes, a certain clarity also comes. But this has always been difficult for people to realize because what? They've been so into sexual relationship that they don't see anything outside of it becomes what? Oh, a suffering. When a man does not engage in sexual relationship as he likes, he starts thinking that he's suffering. When you ask a person, I want to get married, why do you want to get married? They don't really have a purpose of the reason why they want to get married. And hence, a lot of people get into relationship as a means to fill a hole, not as a means to be able to move to the next destination. Just as a means to fill a hole, which is, oh, I'm having this itch of sex, so let me get into relationship with this person so that this person can help me fill that hole. But now when you get into that relationship, then you start finding out that that person is not able to help you to fill that hole. Rather, the hole is just getting bigger and bigger, and you become more empty and empty, because the more sex you have, the more empty you become. Even though we say, but I'm faithful to this person.
Mm.
Are you understanding? The more what? Empty we become.
Yes, I am.
And because the more empty we become, because what? It is not that which is fulfilling. Sex becomes
Mm.
fulfilling if you understand the essence of it. But when we don't
Mm.
understand the essence of it, it does not become fulfilling. And that is why there will be more longing for it.
Say, for example,
Mm,
if, say, the urge comes in,
mm,
in a scenario, and
mm.
the urge comes in, would you say when that urge comes and you deny it for that moment, and or you just go with it, would you deny it or would you just go with it when that urge comes at that moment?
Okay. First of all, we
Or would
must
you question it?
to understand all of these things, but I will try to break it down in a more simplified way. First of all,
Mm.
when sex comes upon us, there are two things. There's different when the real sex come upon us, and when the sex
Mm.
that is imposed by the ancestors comes upon us. There's two things.
Oh, okay.
Let me explain. The sex that is
Okay.
imposed by the ancestors are certain diseased ancestry members that flows within the stream of our blood, wanting to come out through us as a child.
Mm.
And hence, they bring a strong compulsive urge. Strong. And
Mm.
because they bring that strong compulsive urge, it becomes difficult for us to resist. These are the kind of circumstances that comes upon certain people that makes them take advantage of certain people and then be like, why did I do this?
Mm.
This is some ancestors. But now when the real sex comes upon you, actually you don't you don't the desire to see the genitals becomes not interesting, but that person just becomes attractive to you and you just want to be with the person.
Attractive to you. Mm.
That's just it. Not like I want to be with you for the sake of sexual copulation. You see, that sexual urge
Mm.
that comes upon you, that oh, you just want to devour the person. It looks like you want to do something so wonderful, and when you get into the act, you just do 1 minute and 2 or 5 seconds, and you're done.
Mm.
That act there that is based on the impulse of the ancestors, and hence you must also be able to communicate with the ancestors. I know that some of you are pushing me because you want to come out through me. But you must understand that I am not yet ready for that now. When you say that,
Mm.
you will see that there will be a calmness upon the consciousness, upon the mind. The mind becomes calm. But let me, it's just more about, I will give you my example as a married man. Let me give you my example as a
Yeah.
married man. It's
Yeah.
better. You see, being married, the sexual energy, when it comes upon me, you know, to my wife, it just brings more of appreciation. Do you understand? Not
Mm.
a need to want to enjoy the genitals. And the reason why this is there is because what? The woman is in cooperation of it. Let me tell you one thing.
Okay.
Let me tell you one thing. For any mystic man, it is important that the wife be in acceptance of whatever part, whether the wife or the girlfriend be in acceptance of whatever part that the individual follows. Very
Mm.
important. A lot of people are on the path of spirituality, but because, you see, you do know that if you don't have the desire to masturbate and you don't have the desire
Mm.
to have sexual relationship, but the moment one of
Yeah.
your spouse have that desire, and masturbated, not in your presence, because of that action that has happened. Do you know that? And because that strong urge comes upon you, you yourself, you find yourself doing it, but then you'll be like, you will be thinking that it is you that is doing it, but it is nothing but a transmutation of sexual energy.
Yeah.
And this is what is happening in many relations. To find and come to the finest point of this, you must be able to communicate with your spouse or your girlfriend. And that is why you will see many spiritual people prefer to be alone. Why? Not because getting married is bad, but because it helps them to be able to gauge their own energy. So, what I do is have a frank and genuine communication with my spouse. Having that her helps me. For when the mind is dirty from her side, I know, because I know what is in the consciousness of my mind. When my mind is dirty from her side, from my side, I know, because then I see how it really, how it influences her.
Influences her.
You understand? So we are all sharing energy with each other. And because we are all sharing energy with each other, there are people that fancies you. And just by them thinking you in forms of an energy. Do you know that? Not necessarily that the people are your spouse. So just by them seeing you, they have a certain desire for you. And just by you, they having that desire for you, it also comes because everyone with anybody we think about, whether we think about them in a positive way, there is a reserve that goes to them. So that reserve, when it comes to us, we find ourselves doing certain things like, but why am I doing this? But it's just a reserve of the energy. And another way to be able to help yourself is to be mindful of the food that you put into your stomach. When you are mindful,
is it the one you cook, or
whether the one you cook
or eating outside,
or the one you eat outside, whichever one, be mindful of what you put into the chambers of your stomach, because it is all part of energy transmutation. And that becomes one of the big struggles for people. There's one of my spiritual mentor that I really respect a lot. My understand that everything in life is sex. And because everything in life is sex, you must be in alignment with it for it to be able to work in favor of you. When you are not in alignment with it, for it to work in favor of you, you will find yourself making a lot of terrible mistakes. Because what? The world itself was made out of sex. So when you are able to reconcile, now how do you reconcile with that? First, it starts within you. By being truthful to yourself, when that energy comes upon you, okay, yeah, hello. Observe where the energy is coming from. Because it is a vibration. And when that vibration is there, it is coming from somewhere. So observe. And when that vibration is there, it is coming from somewhere. So observe where that vibration is coming from. It's not just the genitals. There are other parts of your body
the
also
whole body
that gets, not all the whole body. I don't know. It differs for people. For me, I can speak. Not just only the genitals.
For me, it's the skin.
The skin. Voila. So if the skin is getting vibrated, which means what? There is something that is around the waist area, which means the energy is so much on the waist that the energy needs to be raised up. And how is that energy raised up? Through breathing. There was once a monk that I know, because I was a monk for some time. This monk, he said, whenever he starts feeling sexual energy, he stop his breath. And then he's that is forcing. When you force it, you think that you are in control of it, but it comes back and it overwhelms you in a way you don't know. But when you are truly sincere with it, okay, hello, this energy is around me. All right, it's in my body. All right, it is in my waist, it is in my feet, it is in my genital area, it is in my head. Okay, what is it where is it stimulating? When you see it and you recognize it, gradually bring it up. And how do you gradually bring it up? Gently breathing in and breathing out. And at that point, start appreciating people. Do you understand?
Okay.
When you start appreciating people and you start doing what is called a conscious prayer, then that energy becomes transformed into something positive immediately. My dear Lord, essential essence of the universe, I am very weak at this moment. And this energy is around me, and it does look as if it is overwhelming. Please help me to rise above this temporary weakness. It works a lot of time. That is the simple way and the simple secret. And that is why you will always see every mystics of yore, every teachers of yore, they are always in a prayerful way, in a prayerful mood. The prayers of ancient mystics and ancient, the prayers of Jesus, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. It is a prayer of sex. Forgive us this day. What was it? Is it forgive us this day our trespasses?
Our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread. It is a prayer. Yeah. It is a prayer of sex. When St. Francis of Assisi says, Lord, give me the strength to do what? To accept. No, give me the strength. No, give me the courage to accept what I don't want to accept. And the strength to rise above what I can, what I can rise above. What is that?
Give me the...
It's a prayer to rise above the sexual energy. Because that energy, my brother, my sister, there is no mystical thing you can do that can, you can just, okay, no, I'm very powerful, I can control it. It's a lie. Even God himself cannot control sex. So it's because he himself is sex. He says he is. Are you understanding? He is what? The sweetness of sex.
Sweetness of sex.
What is the sweetness of sex?
Yes, what's it called? The orgasm side.
Yes.
You release.
Yes. When the woman is releasing, the man is releasing, that is God. Because what? He says he is the sweetness. So when God says he is the sweetness of sex, what does that mean? Means what? You don't have any strength about it. The only way is what? Supplicating. And that is why I always say to everybody that follows me, learn to always supplicate. Write prayers. Every meditation should be a prayer. Every movement should be a prayer. When you're walking on the street, you should be meditating prayerfully in your head. In a mall, there's so many energies around the mall that is ready to overwhelm you. So many people's energy. People are there to display their sexual energy. That is a fact. And at that point, whereby you are walking, you must also be there and not be there.
Yeah.
Which means you must be mentally prayerful. Essential essence of the universe, you have brought me here. Please protect my intelligence from the crocodile minds of people that is ready to devour it. When we don't pray mindfully, we will always be overwhelmed by things. So the answer to everything about your question is what? Mindful prayer. What did I say?
Mindful and prayer.
Yes, mindful prayer. That is all. When that energy comes, be prayerful. But please give me the strength. Please. And you will see sincerity. That is the way.
Sincerity.
Yeah. That is the way.
Because when there was a lady you were talking to in one of your class, and you said even with a partner and they put aside to go on this journey of spending not having sex for a period of time, they can do 1 week, 2 weeks, and all that stuff. And I took that and I decided to have a space where I don't do like intimacy and stuff like that. And I had that space. But I found out that my back was hurting and my knee was just having this like almost like a spark. It feels like I'm getting some cold or something. It was just going on there. And all my senses in my skin was just in this, I don't know how to put it into words. It was just going through its own little thing.
Yes.
And I'm like, how do I then now increase it? But now with what you just said, it kind of makes sense because I didn't know then how I would have done it. But now I know.
Yes.
And if I not try, because I'm making a conscious decision to be doing that for a period of time and see how I can heighten myself.
Very good.
And see.
Very good. But it is important if you are with a woman, communicate with the woman. Don't take the rash decision.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
Because if you take the rash decision, it's okay, no problem, and she's doing it inside, it will. So you must be able to communicate, truthfully with the woman, and help her to understand.
Yeah.
Now, some of them may accept and some of them may not accept, but you must be able to come to a fine agreement that she truly accepts. When you see it as a partnership, because for God to be able to create the world, he was in partnership with that which is the feminine energy of the world. If the and the feminine energy of the world does not come in union or become in partnership to be able to create or maintain, nothing is going to work. So we must understand that. All right.
Out of your topic,
please ask.
But it was related to a conversation I was having with someone. Because in as much as I spend more time in your classes, I was looking at the world itself and forms of government and forms of whatever. And I was having this conversation with someone, which is a Christian, client of mine is a Christian. And I was saying that I think in to say the earth, for example, in order for us, this is my own logic, in order for us to finally get closer to that particular God that is connected to earth, there's certain experience I feel like we have to go through, which is in, say, for example, if you're going to take like where I'm at, this is where my logic was coming from. If we're going to take for where I'm at, say, for example, they have the local chairman, they have the councillor, they have whatnot, and all that stuff, These are just gods that are answering to another bigger God, right? Which is the council of that whole area, right? And I was thinking, in the experience of all those stuff, and also you have to also understand that maybe every year or every 2 years, there's an exchange of power. So everybody changes differently. So what your experience is last year is different from what your experience is this year. You have to question a lot of things in terms of your experience because what you're seeking is a higher self or a higher God of consciousness or your mind. So, but you have to really go through that experience. So I'm asking if I'm right looking at it from that perspective.
Yes, you are very, very right. Because we must understand that we are all, because we must understand that we are all lower gods. All of us. Just like you just rightly explained it. The mayor, the minister, the chief minister, all of them, they are all under what? They are all under what? The main minister that is responsible for that jurisdiction. And that main minister that is responsible for that jurisdiction is also under what? The prime minister.
The prime minister.
Right? Yeah. And the prime minister is not also the veto power. It's not the all veto power. He is also under what? The king. You understand? But it does appear that the king has allowed or allotted certain powers to the prime minister. But the prime minister
Yes.
cannot take all actions on his own without not informing the king.
Forming the king, yeah.
Voila. So all these people are is very, you see, what you just said right now is very nice, because now it shows you to let you understand that there is no one God that is ruling the world. He has ministers and different lower gods that are in charge of different areas.
Of life, yeah.
The one that is in charge of the breath, the one that is in charge of the skin, the one that is in charge of the fire of digestion, the one that is in charge of carrying the blood around the body. So all of these are sub blood, but then there is one master, which is what? That which is the Christmas, which is in the crown of the brain. So now, if you say you are going to neglect these other people and just want to directly go to the Christmas, it is not going to be possible. Do you understand? It will not be possible. So yes, and every day, every year, there's a change in power, which is practically nothing but just a description of the. Every year, there is a change in the movement of the planet. There is a change in the planet that is ruling the particular world. That is a very good analysis. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I was just having a conversation with him, so I thought, because in the end,
Yeah.
I think there's nothing us as humans do around that we've seen from our age, like we've seen it, that has not happened, that's not happening within the gods.
But of course.
So you have to really question those stuff and also go through the experience of it.
That's a fact. Happening here that is not happening among the gods. Thank you very much. The universe bless you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Okay. What are the questions that you guys have? Hi. I think there's a bit of a problem with my network. I don't know if it is the network or stuff like that. Okay. Any question before we continue our conversation? I'm going to end here on. Okay, there are people here on YouTube. Do you guys have question here for me on YouTube? If you have question, please type it in the comment section. I'm going to read it. All right. So should I continue or should I continue? Is the network okay? I'm going to stop here on Facebook. All right. Pay off your debt. Pay off your debt. You see, a lot of us, we take debt from people, but with a woman that does not pay off their debt in the society. Any man, any woman that does not pay off their debt has no respect in the society. Rather, is the most disrespected person in the society. So pay off your debt. It is very, very important that you pay off your debt. For when. Do you understand? Pay off your debt. It is important. A lot of us, we wonder what it's to be. Pay off your debt. Any man, any woman that is a debtor has no respect in the society. And when such a man does not have a respect in the society, such a man becomes a laughing stock. For people use their mouth and their nose to give a description of the man. They use their mouth and their nose to give a description of, see the man there, see the woman there. So you must pay off your debt. In as much as you are thinking about your circumstance, you must always think about the circumstance of the person that has given you that loan. Do you understand? In as much as you are thinking about how difficult your circumstance is, do not forget the circumstance of the individual that freely gave that loan to you. So pay off your debt. I want to talk about debt. There are different types of debt that bound you. The debt to your ancestors, the debt to your lineage, the debt to your wife. Because we are debtors to our wife and to every woman that comes into our life. You must understand that. At the same time, we are debtors to the men that also come into our life. We are debtors. And because we are debtors, that debt has a way of influencing us. Now, there are people that are very, very comfortable with debt, like they're not always disturbed, that they are very, very nonchalant when it concerns their debt. There is a difference between when you know that you're going to pay it and you strive to pay it, and when you are nonchalant, not wanting to pay it. That isn't good, and that becomes a source of bad luck. Hear the words of prudence. Baba, what if you have taken this loan? For that debt becomes a rope that binds you in your next life. A lot of people wonder why you cheat them. It is because of the debt you owe in your past life, the debt you owe. For your debt, you don't think that it goes away. It comes looking for you. Wherever you are, your debts come looking for you. Your debts come looking for you. So pay your debt. Listen to the words of prudence. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and empty your account and pay off your debt, but start it. Start paying off your debt. For in as much as you are thinking about your circumstance, do not also forget the lamentation or the circumstance of the man or of the woman that has freely given that debt to you. So pay it off. There are men that have taken it upon themselves to put debt upon their wife. There are men like that, whereby they have their own source of money, but they don't want to use their own money because they are thinking that they are intelligent. And then there are women that have taken it up upon themselves to put debt upon their husband, even though they are having their own funds, but they don't. It comes upon their children. It comes upon your children. If you don't want debt to come upon your children, start paying off your debt gradually. Any man that dies with debt on his head becomes a curse to his children. The children curse him or her. Are you hearing me? Any man that dies with what? With debt on his head becomes what? A curse. The children curse on the grave of such a man. The children lay curse on the grave of such a man or of such a woman. The children don't give blessing to such a man. And they don't give blessing to such a woman. Rather, they curse such a man, they curse such a woman. So do not die with debt. Don't think that you're going to die and leave the debt. There are people that think that because they get overwhelmed with debt, they want to commit suicide. When you commit suicide, you are leaving the debt for who to pay for you? For your family to pay for you, for your generation to pay for you. That becomes a curse. They curse you. They don't bless you. They curse you. If you want to receive curse from your children and from your lineage and your generation, then don't pay off your debt. Pay off your debt. Listen to the words of prudence. Listen to the words of prudence and pay off your debt, and put a bridle on your tongue. It is not the mind that fosters hatred, it is the tongue. It has no hatred in it, but the tongue has hatred upon it. Hatred does not lay in the mind, hatred lays on the tip of the tongue. So put a bridle on your tongue, put a guard on your tongue. My brothers, guard on your tongue. My brothers, my sisters, and to all of you that is listening to the sound of my voice today, I am telling you, put a guard on your tongue. There is no hatred in the mind, because when you die, the mind does not carry any hatred with it. You must understand it. There is no hatred in the mind, for when you die, the mind does not carry any hatred with it. There is no jealousy in the mind, for when you die, the mind does not carry any jealousy with it. There is no envy in the mind, for when you die, the mind does not carry any envy with it. But the envy, the jealousy, the hatred is on the tip of your tongue. Is everybody listening to me? If you are hearing me, I want you to type, yes, I am hearing. So you must put tongue. Hold your tongue, put a bridle on your tongue, for that is the seat of hatred. That is the seat of what? Of hatred. That is the seat of envy. That is the seat of what? Jealousy. Put a bridle on your tongue. Even the word becomes disgusted of you. Victoria O says, but some people can hate you in their mind and not. The mind does not hate. Understand it properly. People think that the mind hates. The mind does not hate. The mind is nothing but an impression of the mind basically becomes what? That board, that white happens. What it is a white sketchboard that every thought you allow into your mind, into the space of your consciousness, that thought start going to the sketchboard and start drawing. So the mind is just the field, is the field of action. And being the field of action, the mind is not the action itself. The mind is not the action itself, it is just the field of action. Do you hear me? You must put a bridle on your tongue, for when you don't put a bridle on your tongue, the world laugh at you. Every situation, every circumstance scoff at you. You become a nuisance to the society, you become a nuisance to the world, you become a nuisance to your generation. So you must control your tongue. You must put a bridle on your tongue, for a man and a woman, a man or a woman that does not put a bridle on their tongue becomes the cause of problem. Becomes what? The cause of problem. A talkative man is a nuisance to the society. I'm coming. I'm just trying to go live here. A talkative man is what? A nuisance to the society. Nuisance to the society. You must control the urge to speak. A talkative man is a nuisance to the society, and because he's a nuisance to the society, you must control the urge to speak, for it is not everything that comes out of your mouth that is sensible. And it is everyone that you have to open your mouth to speak to. So you must put a bridle on your tongue. For hatred is not in the mind. Hatred does not lie in the mind. Hatred does not lie in the soul. Hatred, when say, oh, this is a very bitter soul. There is nothing as a bitter soul. You understand it? Is a bitter soul, but you must put a bridle on your tongue. For your tongue is where hatred lies. Your tongue is where anxiety lies. It is where jealousy lies. It is where envy lies. It is where hate lies. And do not be talkative. A talkative man is a nuisance. What about in the heart? There is no hatred that lies in the heart. When you open the heart, do you see that, oh, this heart is full of hatred? Do you see that? No, because there is no hatred in the heart. The hatred is on your tongue. The hatred is on the tip of your tongue. And that is why you must put a bridle on your tongue. Do not be boastful of yourself. Do you hear me? Boastful of your knowledge. Do not be boastful of your achievement. Do not be boastful of your body. Do not be boastful of yourself. It is that you are thinking you own. And do not make bitter jest of people. A bitter jest is the poison that kills friendship. A bitter jest is the poison that kills friendship. So be mindful of the by nature, they are very, very sarcastic. It is okay for them to be sarcastic of other people, but when others become sarcastic of them, they become offensive. It is okay for them to be sarcastic of other people, but when others become sarcastic of them, they become offensive. People take offense when they give sarcastic comments to other people. But when people give sarcastic comments to them, they become very, very angry. They become unhappy. So then you must then understand that what? Sarcasm is the poison that kills friendship. So then be mindful of it. Be mindful of it. Be mindful of it. Understanding? So pay off your debt. Do not be a debtor. Pay off your debt. Whatever debt you owe, pay it off. For inasmuch as you are thinking about how unhappy your circumstance is, do not also forget the circumstance of the man. Be piteous of the man that has made the effort of giving you that whatever it is that you look for. Pay off your debt. Thank you, Mama. Do you have any question before we continue? Do you have any question before we continue? Do you have any question before we continue on this? Do you have any question before we continue on this? Thank you, Abigail. Do you have any question? Okay. Okay. It is important. It is important to be modest. Victoria, is there a repercussion or punishment for people who make jest of other people? Yes, there is. Oh, there is a big repercussion. A lot of people make jest of other people because they think that what? They are making fun. But for you to make fun of other person, and that person takes an emotional disturbance to that, there is a punishment for that, a big punishment. For no one is free. Someone sent a request. Please, if you're sending a request, please let your request be in alignment to the question and to the conversation that we're having. Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So I'm having a question.
Okay.
What if, like, let's assume you are more of an introvert, and you have many people like they want to come closer to you, and like every single time you will always want to be by your own self, and many people are desperate like to be close to you, and at times if you are outside and you see them, at times you wish to talk to them, but due to your own nature, you just ignore them like you do not see them. And at times they will be like they will be emotional, like you know. Does that mean like you are punishing them? And does that mean that you have debt that you are going to pay?
But of course. But of course. First of all, we must understand what is an introvert.
You do not do it deliberately.
First of all, we must understand what is an introvert. A lot of people don't know about what is an introvert. People think that an introvert is a person that does not like to speak to people. That is not an introvert. An introvert is a man or a woman that finds happiness in their in their seclusion. But then there are people that are what? That have societal anxietal issue, but they compare it to be an introvert. Are you understanding? There's a difference between when a person have societal anxiety, which is when they're in the midst of people, they start having anxiety because they are afraid that they are going to misbehave. That is one thing. There are people that when they are in the midst of people, they get anxiety because they have what is called inferior complex, because they think that they will not be able to relate with the way the people are behaving, and hence they say that is introvert. That is not introvert. An introvert is not a person that has a low inferiority complex. Do you understand? An introvert is not a person. An introvert is not a person that has inferiority complex. There are people that have a mental anxiety or a mental condition, which is inferiority complex issue, whereby whenever they are around people, they become uneasy. Because let me tell you one thing that goes on in the society. When you're in the midst of a crowd and you start comparing, oh, look at what this person is wearing, look at what I'm wearing. Oh, this person is wearing a nice shoe. Oh, this person is wearing a nice clothes. Oh, I'm not wearing a nice clothes. And then we start thinking that we are not cool enough. That is not introvertism. That is what? That is called inferiority complex. So people try to use introvertism as an excuse to their inferiority complex. You cannot use being an introvert as an excuse to the person that has everything and he has no inferiority complex towards anybody, but not because they are afraid that they are going to misbehave with people outside, not because they start comparing mentally what other people wear to their own. There are people that is inferiority complex. No, that is a disease of envy that has engulfed the body of the individual because of inferiority complex. It is not introvertism. So when there are people that is around you that wishes to associate with you, but then you are like, no, you don't want to associate with that person, with those people, that is selfishness. Do you understand? That is selfishness, yes, and that is a debt. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Any other question?
What if you are oversensitive, like anything, like people are like different. Like there are some people like they are overthinker. If like they are with people, the people energy will be like you make them feel like their energy is not making them do like you are always in your like you are always a thinker, like every to to people, you'll be like your energy, and it used to bring distraction, like you'll be confused. Is that still, does that one still have punishment?
That is, again, you are still bringing it to the point of introvertism. That also is not yet introvertism. An introvert is a person that knows how to navigate their emotion in the midst of the different people that they are and not get affected by it. An introvert is a person that might be that might be in your presence right now talking to you and not disturbed by whatever it is you are saying with your mouth, because whatever you are saying with your mouth, they are already somewhere in their own mind, but they are still with you. Which they value they value what the depth of their consciousness more than associating with people. It is not a person that is afraid of communication. I said it, I've made it clear. An introvert is not a person that has inferiority complex. Because a lot of people have inferiority complex and they start thinking that what it is being introvert. The people that have inferiority complex there's a lot of issues that relate to their childhood. There are some childhood traumas that relate to that. Being an introvert is being able to balance emotion, being able to balance, how you relate with people, being able to not get affected by the energies of people. Definitely, there are people when you are in their midst, you cannot concentrate. That is a fact. But being able to bring yourself back to the point of where you were before, that is strong introvertism. Introvert, there's so many depictions of people that are introverts. So people give a very negative depictions of introverts. Like to sing on the, when they are in their room, they are very comfortable going around in their own place and everything. Why? Because those are not introverts. Those are people that have inferiority complex, which is a mental disease. I'm saying it right now. If there's anybody that is a psychologist here, I want you to come and debate with, not debate with me, come and explain this to me. That disease of what? Inferiority complex. Because what? They are very cautious of how people look at them. They are very cautious of how they sound in the presence of people. That is not introvertism. That is low inferiority complex. Introvertism is not worried about what people say, how people say, what people say. They are just happy within themselves. Confuse these two to be the same. So whether you're in the midst of people and you like to meditate, you see, you may be, like I said, walking in the street and meditating in your head, that is also another form of introvertism. Do you know that? Because what is an introvert?
Yes, sir.
An introvert is a person that is 24 hours analyzing their thoughts, that is 24 hours in a meditative state, that is 24 hours digging into, that is 24 hours digging into the depths of their consciousness. And that's why it is called introvert. They are digging deep into the depth of their consciousness, wanting to understand themselves better. An extrovert is a person that wants to understand themselves by understanding. Are you understand? I don't know. Is it making sense?
Yes, sir.
Through how they relate with others, they understand themselves. And an introvert is a person that, how they understand others is by how they understand themselves from inside. So there's a difference here. We should not compare a person that is mentally sick to be an introvert, because people do. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Another question.
So this thing is very complicated. I'm not still clear.
Okay. Tell me where you're not clear.
So, introvert, normally they think like the way you say. You say that introvert, they normally they normally find their own self by themselves. Why extrovert understand themselves through others.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So now introverts, they normally like once they are with group of people like this, they used to like they overthink a lot, and at times the energy of the other people are surrounding their means. It will make them feel like they are not doing things right. So they don't like associating with crowd, like they like their own company. And at times again, they normally like they want to do their things by themselves. Does that make it like you are only? At times people used to be like, they'll be like, this one has pride or something like that. At times people get annoyed and stuff like that. I want to know, like, you must speak.
Yes. For every
And again,
emotion. Go ahead.
You taught us the other time that
Go ahead.
you taught us the other time that once you are doing something the way you are programmed to be, you are sinning.
Yes.
So now, if like you force yourself to do what is not pleasing by you, does that make it like you must pay?
That's a very good question. First of all, for every emotion that we stir up in people, whether it is the emotion of happiness, it is the emotion of sadness, it is the emotion of anger, whatever emotion that we stir up in people, there is a debt connected. A debt or a reward. When you give knowledge to people and the people are very happy, oh, I received this knowledge, and they get a certain emotion out of that. They release, not get, they release a certain emotion out of that into the universe. That becomes a reward for you. Now, when you speak to certain people and they get a certain emotion, and the emotion is that of anger, irritation, release that into the atmosphere, there is a punishment that is awaiting because that emotion has been released. Similarly, when it concerns doing things according to your nature, according to our nature simply means understanding that which is when we don't understand that which is our strength and that which is our weakness, but rather we try to see ourselves based on the eyes of other people, then that becomes also a debt to ourselves. And these are people that have to be born again in the next life, whereby now they become so selfish, whereby they just focus only on themselves. They'll be like, why are you always focusing on yourself? These are people like that because what? They are people that have not been able to truly understand themselves properly in their past life. So doing things according to your nature is not based on emotion. Are you understanding? It's not based on what?
Yes,
emotion. It's based on knowledge. And an example is this. You go out in the street. You don't like to smoke. Are you understanding? You don't like to smoke, but because you are seeing other people around you, they are smoking. So, because you want to act along as if you belong, you also decide to take a cigarette and smoke. That is that is not in accordance to your nature. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you don't like to drink, you don't like to say, you don't like to use foul words, but because you are in the midst of certain people, not wanting to look as if you are off, but just wanting to like, okay, let me show that I'm also part of them. You start drinking and you start using foul words. That is going in. So what happens? You get a negative reaction. Now, if you purposefully avoid these people because you know they control how we feel when we're around them, they're just something that happens that we just start behaving somehow. There are certain people when we talk to them, we don't want to lie, but lie just comes out of our mouth. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
Ah,
Yes, sir.
there are people we don't want to lie, but just because of the kind of people they are, the moment we speak to them or we just find ourselves just lying from one lie to another lie, only with these people. And then there are people that we don't want to say anything bad or stuff like that. But when we are around them, we just, based on the conversation that they are having, we just find ourselves also saying things that is not very nice or speaking about women or degrading women or whatever. Because of what? That is the kind of energy that these people have. And then there are people that when they are around us and we are around them, there's just this beauty that comes out of it. So your duty as a human is to recognize these people that are categorized like this. Whether you are an introvert, you are an extrovert. What is the other one? There are three: introvert, extrovert. What is the other one? Is it ambivert? Ambivert. Whichever one you are, you must be able to recognize who are the people that brings out the best in you, because we all have that. Who are the people that bring out the worst in you, and who are the people that bring out the negative in you that you don't like? When you categorize them according to that, now know how you will mindfully avoid the people that brings out the worst in you. Know how you are going to associate with the people that brings out the good in you, the best in you, and know what you're going to do with with the people that brings out, the negative in you. And just by meeting them and we start talking to them, we just find ourselves bragging, boasting. Oh, yes, I had this. Oh, yes, I had this. But you don't have it. Are you understanding? You don't have it.
Yes, sir.
But that is the energy that is around them. And you also find yourself just, boasting. So you see that if you look at the way I have classified it like this, then it means that there are different people that we meet in our life have different things they bring out of us. Not everybody bring the same thing out of us. It is not everybody you meet that you're going to lie to. There are people you are going to meet, and just those people, you cannot lie to them. There's just something about them. You cannot lie to them. You are just always very sincere. You're like a new baby in the eyes of these people, whenever you are with these people. And then there are certain people when you are with them, from one lie to another lie, from one lie to another lie, you just keep lying. Oh, yes, I was in London. Oh, yes, my father has a house in London. You just keep lying. And then there are people that you just find yourself speaking very negative words and all of that and everything like that. So you see, we have these three classes of people we meet in our life. When you are able to recognize them, now put them in that, recognize them and see how you navigate your association with them. Then you are always protected. Then you are acting according to your nature. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Hello. Any more questions here? Do you guys understand it? Do you guys have any question here on Instagram? On YouTube, I'm not seeing any question. So is there any more question here from you guys on TikTok? Hi, Don Dallas. How are you? So truthfulness is important. Sincerity is important. How about, how about someone that put other people before themselves? I think I've already explained that. Thank you very much, Gish, I appreciate you. Please let's keep tapping on it. Yes, please keep tapping on your screen. And if you guys have question on Instagram, please ask me. I'm not seeing any question here before others. Like I said, these are people that have so prioritized others, wanting to be pleasing of others in their past life, that in this lifetime they have to be, they have to prioritize themselves. Understand this simple reality and this simple fact, then you are not bewildered. The problem with us is that we are so busy wanting to live our life according to the lens of people. You see, today I was having a conversation with my wife. In that conversation, one thing I come to understand is that we've lived in such a society that we compare our success as to what we see in the life of other people. When others are making success and we are not making that success, we start thinking, are you understanding? So we compare our success as to what we see in the life of others. If I am, so how do you call it in English? What is that called? There's a name for it, whereby we try to compare our success to other people's life. So when others are buying, oh, look at these people are buying cars, these people are having this, these people are having that, and you don't have it, and you start thinking that there is something wrong with you. You start thinking, it is a mental disease. We call it a mental disease. It's a mental malady that we all have. A mental what? A mental malady that we all have, whereby we all have, whereby it is okay. You see, it is okay to look at other people and use that as and it becomes bad when you start looking at other people to compare the success of your life. There are families that do that, and because of this, they don't make progress. There are mothers that do that. They compare the success of other people's children to their own children. And then they forget that every child has their own milestone. And then they forget that every child has their own milestone. Mate, look at what your mates are doing and look at what you are doing. See, your mates are making progress and you are not making progress. Oh, see, your mates, they are getting married. See, this person is married. That person is married. You are not yet married. So they say all of these things. And what happened? That becomes these things. And what happened? That becomes a sickness in the head of the child. That becomes what? A sickness in the head of the child. The child, whether the child is grown or not grown, but that becomes something that is stuck in the head of the child because what? That child starts thinking, I need to show that I'm also successful. I need to show that I'm also successful. So they keep doing this, they keep running around trying to show that they are successful. Then it becomes what? A race. And that is why when you buy something, you want to show it off. That is why when you buy something, you want to show it off because what? It gives you that vibe to compare yourself to other people that see, I'm making some progress. So see, I'm making some progress. Are you understanding? Then because then you want to show it off, and that is why people show off. People don't show off because of the vainness of their comfortable within themselves that what they are also making progress according to what they see in the eyes of the society. Men compare their wife to other women. Oh, can't you not be like this women? Men compare their wife to other women. Oh, can't you not be like this women? Can't you not be like that man's wife? Can't you not be like this person? Can't you not be like that? Do the same thing for their husband. They compare their husband to also other men. And this has been the up and front and back. This has been what is there, front and back, that we have always been struggling around with. So do not compare yourself to others. Do not look at others' life and use it as a yardstick to measure your success. Do you understand? Do not look at other people's life and use it as a yardstick, as a measurement of your own success. Do you understand? Do not look at other people's life and use it as a yardstick to measure your success. Look at your own internal, in your own internal dialogue should be the yardstick. How, your internal dialogue should be the yardstick to measure your success, not about the life of other people. Oh, look at this man, look at how he's dressed, look at this person, look at what they're doing. Are we not all the same mates? Were we not born in the same year? You see, people do that. Oh, look at this celebrity is the same age mate with me, but look at what they are doing, look at what I'm doing. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. When you do that to yourself, you are betraying the trust that the universe have upon you. Are you understanding? Whenever you start comparing your life to that of others, and you start using other people's life as a yardstick to compare your success, how successful you are becoming or how not successful you are becoming, you are betraying the trust of the universe upon you. Is it sinking down? Is it sinking? Whenever you do that, you are betraying what? The universal trust upon you. It takes what? It takes long. Okay. All right. Any other question? I'm going to end here on YouTube. All right. I'm going to end YouTube. All right. I'm going to end on YouTube. All right. To you guys on YouTube, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I'm going to end here on YouTube, and I will just continue on TikTok. And also, yes, everybody on YouTube, I have an option now whereby you can be a member. Please do support us, so that we can, continue providing you, with classes and all of that.